In her third memoir, finished on the 31st of August, 1941, Sister Lucia of Fatima offers us this profound insight into the mediation of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. As I have already written in the second account, Our Lady told me on June 13th, 1917, that she would never forsake me and that her Immaculate Heart would be my refuge and the way that would lead me to God. As she spoke these words, she opened her hands, and from them streamed a light that penetrated to our inmost hearts. I think that on that day of the second apparition, the main purpose of this light was to infuse within us a special knowledge and love of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, just as on the other two occasions it was intended to do, as it seems to me, with regard to God and the mystery of the Most Holy Trinity. From that day onwards, our hearts were filled with a more ardent love for the Immaculate Heart of Mary. From time to time, Jacinta said to me, "The Lady said that her Immaculate Heart will be your refuge and the way that will lead you to God. Don't you love that? Her heart is so good. How I love it." Here, the images of Our Lady's mediation are quite striking. Her heart will be Lucia's refuge and the way that will lead her to God. Secondly, there is the image of Mary's hands opening and the light streaming from them. This is reminiscent of the vision of St. Catherine Labouré. But here, there is the understanding that through Mary's mediation, one can receive special insights into the Most Blessed Trinity, as well as into her own Immaculate Heart. Lucia goes on to report to us some of the extraordinary insights of her little cousin Jacinta, now Blessed Jacinta. You will remain here to make known that God wishes to establish in the world devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. When you are to say this, don't go and hide. Tell everybody that God grants us graces through the Immaculate Heart of Mary, that people are to ask her for them, and that the heart of Jesus wants the Immaculate Heart of Mary to be venerated at his side. Tell them also to pray to the Immaculate Heart of Mary for peace, since God has entrusted it to her. If I could only put into the hearts of all the fire that is burning within my own heart and that makes me love the hearts of Jesus and Mary so much. Here we may note Blessed Jacinta's firm conviction about the mediation of the Immaculate Heart of Mary with God, and that the heart of Jesus wants the Immaculate Heart of Mary to be venerated at his side. Of course, as we see also on the reverse side of the miraculous medal. A confirmation that the recognition of Mary's unique co-redemptive and mediatorial role is the will of Jesus. Now, it is very interesting that the general posture of Our Lady in the image that she instructed Ida to have painted, and that Ida herself had seen on the 31st of May, 1951, is very similar to the image found on the miraculous medal. There are a number of differences, however. One is that Our Lady stands before the cross, indicating her collaboration in the work of our redemption. Another is that the globe of the world is surrounded by flocks of sheep. Let us listen to Ida's description. Then the Lady speaks to me again. "My child, imprint this image deeply on your mind and transmit it correctly. The flocks of sheep represent the peoples of the world who will not find rest until they achieve content and fix their eyes on the cross, the center of this world. Now look at my hands and relate what you see. Now I see in the palms of her hands what appear to be wounds already healed, and from these rays of light stream out, 3 from each hand, and diffuse themselves upon the sheep. Smiling, the lady adds, these 3 rays are grace, redemption, and peace. Through the grace of my Lord and Master, and for the love of mankind, the Father sent his only begotten Son as Redeemer for the world. Now they both wish to send the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, who alone can bring peace. Hence, grace, redemption, and peace. The Father and the Son wish at this very time to send Mary, the Lady of all nations, as co-redemptrix, mediatrix, and advocate. Now I have given you a clear and lucid explanation of the picture. There is nothing more to be said. What is particularly striking here is that Mary's hands have the stigmata imprinted on them. I believe that this is an entirely new feature in Marian iconography, but entirely justified pictorially. After Jesus, the God-man, no human creature, including all of the stigmatics of history, have shared more intimately in the saving passion of Jesus than his mother. Let us listen to the words of the servant of God, John Paul II, in his Marian Catechesis of the 9th of April, 1997, which faithfully echoes the teachings of his predecessors on this important point. Applied to Mary, the term cooperator acquires a specific meaning. The collaboration of Christians in salvation takes place after the Calvary event, whose fruits they endeavor to spread by prayer and sacrifice. Mary, instead, cooperated during the event itself and in the role of mother. Thus, her cooperation embraces the whole of Christ's saving work. She alone was associated in this way with the redemptive sacrifice that merited the salvation of all mankind. In union with Christ and in submission to him, she collaborated in obtaining the grace of salvation for all humanity. Iconographically, then, we have here a remarkable indication that Mary's mediation of grace, redemption, and peace flows from her role as co-redemptrix. Precisely from her wounded hands pour forth the graces of redemption. She would repeat this message again to Ida on the 2nd of July, 1951, with further explanations. Now look hard at my hands. From them emanate rays of grace, redemption, and peace.